Hi. Um, do you know that most people fear public speaking and they find it very difficult to do public speaking? But when it's fact, it isn't so very difficult. The most difficult thing about public speaking is the fear within yourself. Hi, I am June, and I do public speaking on a regular basis in my job mostly. I speak to teachers, I speak to professors, I speak to other educators, I speak to politicians, I speak to parents, and I speak in very many areas. And when it comes to public speaking, there are a few key elements that you need to know in order to be a good public speaker, because public speaking is the one thing that can have the hugest impact on your career. Because in a world of abundant knowledge and many good people and many good skills, it's important to be able to communicate your skills. And that is one thing. If you're going to do public speaking, it's important to know your subject. You need to know what you're talking about, and you need to do some research. And the best place to do research is, of course, on the internet, like where we are now. But in order to do research on the internet and get the knowledge and skills that you need, there are some important clues to make it easy to find the knowledge you seek and to get the knowledge. Because on the internet, there is an abundance of information. It's easy to get what you call information overload. Today we are not going to talk about that. That is something that I will explore in depth on my membership site, which you are most welcome to join. But today we are going to talk about public speaking, and I'm going to give you a few tips and tricks on this video and some upcoming videos or hangouts. Another tips about public speaking is to know your audience. If you talk to people who know your subject well, it's different than if you talk to people who don't know your subject. And one thing that you easily do when you talk about the subject that you know very well is, like, we have something called, in Norwegian, I'm from Norway, we call it tribal speech. And that means that in every field you have certain words and vocabulary that you use on a regular basis. And that shows that you are familiar with the terms and the subjects and everything. But if you want to communicate your message to other people, they don't necessarily know your tribal language. So you have to keep your language simple so that you can communicate to everybody. We have something called the KISS method, and that means keep it simple, stupid. And that always works, because if you can, someone said, there's a famous quote, I think it's from Edison, Einstein, and he says that if you know your subject well, you can explain it to a child. And many people hide behind difficult language, and that makes it difficult to reach through to the audience. And another thing about public speaking is it comes with practice. You need to practice. You can start practicing in front of a mirror. You can start practicing in your own living room. You can start to video record yourself. You can do hangouts like this, like where we are now. And then you can start practicing with a small audience. That is maybe the biggest barrier. You can have your mom or your husband or your children or your best friend watching you. And then you can start practicing and rehearsing in front of them. And then you can expand your audience, and you can start with short talks, and then you can have longer and longer talks and conversations. And you have to remember that being in front of an audience, being able to do public speaking, gives you authority. It gives you the impression of being a very knowledgeable person. And people respect other people who does public speaking, because one of the things is that they do what they fear the most. So that gives respect because it shows that you take responsibility, and if you want to be a leader, it's very important to show responsibility. And when you do public speaking, you show that I am a leader, I'm not afraid to stand in front of people. But another thing is that you show that you're skilled. You know that you can stand up there in front of other people and show what you're able to do, what you know, and you're able to take response and feedback and questions. And in that way you can explore and enhance your knowledge. Because that is today's final point. When you prepare for a speech, you actually enhance your own knowledge, because there is nothing that increases your knowledge more than when you have to perform it in front of other people. That is why when you're a teacher, you many times learn more than the students, because you have to prepare so that you are able to communicate the knowledge to other people, and that enhances your own knowledge. But because you not only have to think of your own learning, but you have to think, how can I communicate this so other people can understand? What are the difficulties? What are the objections? What are the challenges? And as a public speaker, you should have that in mind before you prepare your talk. So thank you. This is June from Norway. And if you want to learn more about public speaking, I invite you to join my membership site, where I will share more tips and tricks about how to be a good public speaker. Thank you. Have a nice evening.